The same exact data.
Open your eyes to a new world, which you never knew existed.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to CanCon's Corner, live streaming to you guys from Rumble, X, and YouTube. Back on YouTube after the ban. And yeah, it's good to see you guys. I want to jump on here today and do a little show about some information that just came down the pipe this morning. And it's continuing to pour in. And these retarded, I don't know how else to describe them. These retarded Democrats, I've kind of coined the term Derp Democrats. They keep rehashing this Epstein thing, and I don't think it's in their best interest to keep doing this, because every time they do it, it gets worse and worse for them. And I've got a pretty hot take on the files, that the emails, excuse me, that came out this morning. There was more that just came out. I literally just finished reading them before the show, before I went live. And I did actually find a couple interesting things in there. And we're going to go through all of that today. I just had an article published over at the Gateway Pundit on this story right here. So after the show, I highly encourage you guys to go check that out. It's about this Epstein email release. And I mean, if you're watching it here, you're pretty much going to get my take right from me. So yeah, do we just dive right in? Oh, you know what? I do want to apologize, because I've been talking about the CanCon Week in Review, and it's been 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. It's been 4 weeks since I announced it, and I've only done 2 of those 4 weeks. One trip, one weekend, I was in California for one of my Marines retiring. And then this past weekend that just passed, I was in Cocoa Beach for a Badlands media event, the Great American Restoration Tour Guard event. Had a tremendous time. Such a great time. Saw so many people, new faces, a lot of new people, man. Like half the people that were at Cocoa Beach were new, and it was absolutely incredible meeting all of you guys. You know, I told some people these Guard events are unlike any other event that you'll go to. We, you know, by we, I mean the people at Badlands that are the content creators, you know, all of us that do the shows are very interactive. Like, I mean, we were hanging out with some people, you know, hanging around the beach and everything else till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning sometimes, you know, having drinks, hanging out, talking, just having a good time, you know. And we you know, we do the work during the day. We have our panels and we do, you know, the discussions and everything else during the day. But, you know, you can't go to an event where you get that type of interaction with people. And, you know, it's a good time, man. It really is a good time. And I want to give a special shout out. I don't know if she's listening or not, to Trumpet. Got to spend a couple hours actually talking with her. And that was a lot of fun. So anyways, let's get into this. Before we do that, if you can, please hit that thumbs up, guys, as everybody starts to trickle in here. We're on all the platforms right now. Hit the thumbs up on all of the platforms. If you're on Rumble, jump over to YouTube. Give me a follow over there. I'm like the only one in the band that's losing members. Like Bahizzi's already up to like 100,000 subscribers. He started with like 0, and he's already up to 100,000. So I don't know. Maybe they just don't like my content. I have no idea. But here's the article that I wrote here from the Gateway Pundit. Oversight Dems release new Epstein emails that mention Trump, and it instantly backfires on them. Again, this is why I call them the derping Democrats. The derping Democrats. Derp. Because that's what they do. They derp. They think the walls are caving in at every single thing they possibly can get. And it just doesn't work out that way. So I start out by talking about the release and what it was. So this morning, as I'm waking up to do Badlands Daily, again, if you're not subscribed to Badlands, jump over there, give them a follow. Absolutely incredible group of people over there. I wake up and I see these 3 emails pop up from the Oversight Democrats on X. And I'm like, well, this is odd. Let's just go. Let's skip over the story. I can talk my way through this one. And let's jump into these emails. So they put these emails out here, right? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, let's see what we got. They mentioned Trump, right? So this is dated April 2nd, 2011. April 2nd, 2011. And it is from Jeffrey Epstein to GMAX, which is Ghislaine Maxwell. And Jeffrey Epstein says, quote, I want you to realize that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. And then redacted, victim, spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. To which Ghislaine Maxwell responds later, I have been thinking about that. About 5 hours later, she says, I have been thinking about that. Now, I've seen a lot of people, the House Oversight Republicans, the GOP House Oversight, they came out right away and they said, why did you redact the victim? Why did you redact the victim? Because the victim is not redacted in the emails sent from the Jeffrey estate. So there's another thing that people are saying. People are saying, why don't they just release all these files? They had these files. Why didn't they put them out there? These didn't come from the DOJ. These came from the Epstein estate. Now, we don't know if the DOJ has everything from the Epstein estate. So there's a lot of, what's what here. Okay. And we still don't have any validity. These could be completely made up emails for all we know. Okay. So we don't know much about these other than the oversight Democrats are putting them out there, and the House GOP is calling them out and saying, why did you redact this? Because the name that you're seeing right here, and let me get back on the screen, the victim name right here is Virginia Giuffre, who died in April of this year, unfortunately, allegedly from suicide. We don't know. The interesting thing about Giuffre is this, and this is posted by Technofog. You can find it anywhere. We covered this when it came down. This was her deposition, her sworn testimony during her lawsuit against Jeffrey Epstein, saying that, quote, he didn't partake in any sex with any of us, but he flirted with me. It's true that he didn't partake in any sex with us, but it's not true that he flirted with me. Donald Trump never flirted with me. Giuffre goes on to say, at Mar-a-Lago, when have you met him? At Mar-a-Lago, my dad and him, I wouldn't say they were friends, but my dad knew him and they would all talk all the time. Well, not all the time, but when they saw each other. Have you ever been in Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's presence with one another? No. All right. And then there's more to it. Actually, there's not more in this one. There was another email that had more to it, but you get the point. All right. Giuffre has repeatedly said that Donald Trump was never unbecoming to her. Donald Trump they never had sex. They never made sexual advances. He didn't even flirt with her. So now going back to this email, you have this email right here where we know the victim spent hours at my house with him, meaning that Giuffre spent hours with Donald Trump at Jeffrey Epstein's house. I have a slightly different take on this. And I believe that at this point in time, so here's what was going on at this point in time. March of 2011, the BBC started hammering on the Prince Andrew story, right? And we got this new packet of emails right here. And if we scroll down to the bottom, let me zoom out just a little bit for my own use right here. So this is to Brett Jaffe from Annette Witheridge of the Daily Mail, the Mail on Sunday, and asking all these questions about Epstein, Maxwell, and Prince Andrew. And the picture of Giuffre, we've all seen that picture of the young Virginia Giuffre and Prince Andrew. So you see here, Mark Cohen writes to Ghislaine Maxwell, says, following up on my email this morning, again, I have no intention of responding unless you direct otherwise. Maxwell then forwards this to Epstein. Epstein then gets an email from the Duke, which I can only assume is Prince Andrew. Now, this is March 4th, 2011. And it says, hey there, what is all this? I don't know anything about this. You must say so, please. This has nothing to do with me. I can't take any more of this. So that was on March 4th of 2011. So let's go back to this email on April 2nd. So about 3 weeks later. So about 3 weeks later, you have this email between Maxwell and Epstein saying that you realize the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Did they open up it within themselves, Epstein and Maxwell? Did they start investigating whether or not they had a mole in their organization, in their little network? Did they have an informant in there? So the term "the dog that hasn't barked" is a reference to Sherlock Holmes, one of his most popular short stories, The Adventures of Silver Blaze, excuse me. And in this story, a man is trying to steal a racehorse, the trainer, and trying to sabotage the racehorse. And when they steal the horse, the perpetrator that stole the horse, takes the horse, he ends up getting killed. The horse kills him. In self-defense, when he's trying to kill the horse kills him. Sherlock Holmes was able to figure this out, who the perpetrator was, because one of the key pieces of evidence was that when the perpetrator broke in to steal the horse, the dog didn't bark, which signified that the dog knew the person. And so there was no reason for the dog to bark. He was comfortable with this person. And so when Epstein writes to Maxwell, the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Well, if you look, let's do this together. Let's do this together. What? All right. So we'll share this tab here and we're just going to ask Brave. What does the dog that doesn't bark mean? The phrase "the dog that doesn't bark" refers to a significant absence or non-event in a given scenario where the expected occurrence did not happen, thereby serving as a crucial clue. The concept originates from a Sherlock Holmes mystery where the fact that a guard dog did not bark at an intruder's presence, despite the dog being expected to react, indicated that the intruder was someone familiar to the dog and not a stranger. So now when you jump back over here, right, remember, and it's a significant absence or non-event in a given scenario. So what Epstein is saying right here is that Giuffre spent hours with Trump at my house, and he's never once been mentioned. Why is that? Why is this man, like El Duque, the Duke, is rolled up in this? Why isn't Trump getting rolled up in this? So I think that they're kind of getting the idea that perhaps President Trump, or Donald Trump back then, is an informant. Now, Epstein goes on to say he's never once been mentioned, not by the police chief. He doesn't, I'm adding the not by the police chief, but he says never once mentioned, police chief, etc. So you're thinking, the law enforcement around this, the FBI investigated this, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Florida investigated this back in 07, 08. And then Epstein says, I'm 75% there. I have been thinking about that as well, Maxwell says. So this email to me, and this is why it blows up in the Democrats' face. This email to me tells me that they're starting, the aha moment occurred, right? Donald Trump is pure in all of this. Nobody's mentioning Donald Trump. He's been around. He might not have done anything. We know Giuffre said that he didn't do anything. He didn't even flirt with her. So Epstein is kind of starting to put it all together and say, that's interesting that this guy, nothing ever comes back on him. So let's jump over, and I'm going to pull this up from my article here. I got a clip, a montage of supporting evidence that President Trump may be an informant. The first one here is Speaker Mike Johnson. who says that President Trump was an FBI informant. Now, to be fair, 3 days later, he walked this back and said, I didn't mean that. But, maybe that was an intentional slip.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago.
All right, let me see. Hold on. That one actually doesn't have the FBI informant part in there. So I might actually have to add that. Bear with me for 2 seconds, guys. I just want you guys all to hear it. It's not hard to find. It's a very popular clip. Okay, maybe I lied. Oh, that's because I had walks back in the search. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Share this tab instead, and let's do it.
Saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take...
Oh, he did say it. Okay, thank you, Haplo. He did say it. All right, so I apologize. I must have missed that. So let's get back into that clip. So Speaker Johnson walked that back and said, well, I was quoting Bradley Edwards, Giuffre's attorney, and I misspoke. Okay, but here's the thing. Like, you said he was an FBI informant. Bradley Edwards, Giuffre's attorney, never mentions the FBI. Now, here's his clip right here.
President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him. That was President Trump.
Okay. So in 2018, Bradley Edwards says that back in 2009, President Trump was the only person out of a bunch of heavy hitters, big profile names. He was the only person that not just responded, but called Edwards and said, hey, let's talk. I'll give you as much time as you need. What do you want to know? Now, this is after the case. 2009, Epstein had already been convicted. He's in a prison camp. It's a nice setup. He goes to work. He goes to prison 9 to 5, goes home at night. Or he goes to work during the day and goes back to the prison at night. And then I think he was off on weekends. Sweetheart deal, right? How the hell does it get it? Alex Acosta, he's intelligence, right? It's above my pay grade. He's intelligence. So President Trump, and there's a lot of, you go back and you look at Trump in Atlantic City. You look at Trump's relationship with Rudy Giuliani when he was getting the RICO case against the mob. There's a lot of people. And I think it was Joe Lang that's wrote about this over on Badlands. There's a lot of people who have put some pieces together that suggest President Trump has been an informant for quite some time, not just in regards to the Epstein thing, but the mob, corruption, all sorts of stuff. So let's play this last clip. And this was Bradley Edwards more recently.
Back in 2009, and several times after that, he didn't think that it was a hoax then. In fact, he helped me. He got on the phone. He told me things that were helping our investigation. Now, our investigation wasn't looking into him, but he was helping us then. He didn't treat this as a hoax. So at this point in time, I would hope that he would revert back to what he was saying to get elected, which is, I want transparency. This about face that occurred, none of us understand it. In fact, I don't understand how this is an issue that's even up for debate. How do you not stand behind these women after you've heard their stories and know that hundreds of them were abused, and it was only because files are being kept in secrecy? The world should know who he is, who protected him.
Okay. So again, you've got Speaker Johnson on one hand saying he's an FBI informant and then walking it back and saying, well, I just meant that he was cooperating with the attorney. Yeah. Speaker Mike Johnson is a lawyer. He's a lawyer. All right. Anybody that knows lawyers knows they are very, very deliberate in what they say. They are exceptionally deliberate in what they say. It's kind of like it's what they do for a living. Just throwing that out there. So when he said that, I was kind of, maybe you did actually mean that, and you just weren't supposed to say that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Mike Johnson didn't realize that this is, that he's a confidential informant. But that would make sense. That would make sense why he's never once been mentioned by the police chief or anybody else. Confidential informants, they typically stay unannounced. You can't figure out who they are. So let's jump into the next email that was released this morning of the series of 3. And it's not that one. It's not that one. It is. Did I just delete it by accident? I think I did. I just deleted it by accident. I apologize, guys. Here it is. It's this one. All right. So this one's not as controversial. This was back on January 31st, 2019. Jeffrey Epstein writing to Michael Wolff, who is an author and a quote unquote journalist. I got to use that term very loosely because I don't think he's a journalist. I think he's a hack. And he says, victim, Mar-a-Lago. So it's redacted, victim, Mar-a-Lago. Then there's a redacted sentence. And then Epstein says, Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member, ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Now, again, the oversight Democrats, the derping Dems, have been very deliberate in how they're releasing this information. There is no context to this email whatsoever. Maybe they didn't receive context. Maybe they just got these little tidbits from the Epstein estate trying to tease it. It had Trump's name in it. I don't know. But the bottom line here is, even if we're assuming that the victim is Virginia Giuffre, and it says Giuffre, Mar-a-Lago, a redacted sentence, we have no idea what that says. Trump said he asked me to resign, never a member, ever. That's not what Trump said. Trump has never asked him to resign. That's never been said publicly. Mar-a-Lago is a private club. Mar-a-Lago is Trump's home. It's huge. It's got different buildings inside of the compound. It's very large. $1 billion property. Easily. If you've never been there, it's absolutely gorgeous. You got a view of the ocean. You got a view of the intercoastal. It's incredible. No better piece of property in all of the state of Florida, maybe in the country, than Palm Beach Island and Mar-a-Lago. The elite of the elite live there. So Trump has this private club. Just because it's a private club doesn't mean you must be a member to go there. I've been there twice. I went there for the Kerry Lake event, and I went there for the John Eastman event. Both times I was fortunate enough to see President Trump. He was there both times and spoke both times. Sassy Girl says she's been there 6 times. There you go. You are cooler than me. Damn. Why you got to steal my thunder? Anyways, here's the point. Trump said he banned him, kicked him out, whatever the case might be. Never asked him to resign because he wasn't a member. Well, he also lived next door. So maybe they kind of had like a mutual understanding that it wasn't a, it was a mutual understanding. Like, you can come and go. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to pay the $150,000 a year or whatever the hell it cost to be a member at Mar-a-Lago back in 2011. So whatever. I just, this one didn't seem like that big of a deal. It is interesting that he says, of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Well, when you ask somebody to stop, that's exonerating. That's exonerating evidence. That's not implicating. That doesn't implicate him in this crime. In fact, it shows that he actually tried to stop it. Now, whether this was, again, it's lacking context. Was this at Mar-a-Lago? Was this, I don't know. Was this in response to Maxwell trying to recruit girls like they say they recruited Giuffre? Who knows? So now is when we get to the really, well, first off, for me, because I believe he was an informant, the most interesting email to me is the dogs that don't bark, the dog that doesn't bark. That's the most interesting to me. This one is also pretty interesting. So Michael Wolff pops back in here again. And on December 15th, we got to go down here and read from bottom up. On December 15th, 2015 at 8 p.m., okay, there's something very interesting going on on December 15th at 8 p.m. The GOP debate, presidential debate. President Trump is participating in a debate in Las Vegas, Nevada, with all of the other candidates for the GOP. And Michael Wolff, the quote-unquote journalist / author, says, I hear CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in a scrum afterwards. Epstein mysteriously, and at 11:52 p.m., but keep in mind, this is most likely East Coast, right? So 11:52 p.m. is in Vegas. I think it's only 9:52. He says, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? That is interesting that you would even propose that. Like, if we could craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? To which Michael Wolff responds the next day. So I don't remember if they asked Trump about Epstein at that Las Vegas, Nevada debate or not. But the next day, Michael Wolff writes to Jeffrey Epstein at 4:26 p.m., I think you should let him hang himself. That is rich. That is rich with irony. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you, Jeffrey Epstein, a valuable PR, public relations, and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say, Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. So this one is really interesting because it sounds to me like you have a quote-unquote journalist that is working with a convicted pedophile and sex offender, to blackmail, I don't mince words, to blackmail a president or a potential president in the name of political capital. Now, keep in mind, if President Trump loses this election in 2015, well, going on into 2016, he's still a very popular guy. In fact, he's probably even more popular now than he was back then. Or he at that point, I'm going back in time. In 2015, when this is all taking place, he's more popular then than he was as, the host of The Apprentice, The Builder, The Art of the Deal, and all that stuff. And so, Wolff is telling him, like, hey, if Trump lies, keep that close to your chest. You can use that later on for political currency. And if he doesn't lie, you can hang him in a way that benefits you, or you could save him and he'd be forever in your debt. Now, before I went live here, I saw an even more interesting email that kind of ties into this a little bit more. And let me jump over here to this one. On October 29th, 2016, October 29th, 2016, Michael Wolff writes to Epstein, now could be the time. And then he says, quote, there's an opportunity to come forward this week and talk about Trump in such a way that could garner you great sympathy and help finish him. Interested? What does they mean by that? An opportunity to come forward this week and talk about Trump in such a way that could garner great sympathy and help finish him. Are you interested? This is 5 days before the 2016 election. No, excuse me. 2016 was on what, November 8th? This is about a week and a day before the 2016 election. What does that? This is the one that they just dropped. Like, the House Democrats, what are you guys doing? Why are you guys so retarded? You're putting out stuff that is making Donald Trump look like he's being attacked by Michael Wolff and Jeffrey Epstein, working in tandem to coerce and blackmail the future president. Right? At this point, he's definitely the GOP nominee. He's going to be headed to the ballot box in 7 days with a good chance to win. Let me see real quick. When did the Access Hollywood tape on Trump get leaked? I wonder if it was the Access Hollywood tape. That was October 7th, so that was well before. Did Michael Wolff leak any damaging stories about Trump right after October 29th, 2016? Doesn't say. Just a week before the November 8th election, Wolff has confirmed he was engaged in an in-depth conversation with Epstein about his relationship with Trump at the time, though he stated he don't quite remember the context when contacted by CNN. There's no evidence in the provided context that Wolff published any story based on these emails. Okay. So maybe they didn't go through with it. But the idea that they were talking about a conspiracy, that sure sounds like a conspiracy. Now, let's jump into the emails the Democrats released, because if you look at how they are saying it, let me see if I could find this, because you got to see how these derp Democrats are putting this. Oh goodness, they are so just look at these people. These people are so retarded. House Democrats, it's about time. Grijalva is now sworn in. They're going to get the vote to bring the Epstein bill to the floor now, because she got sworn in a fake and stolen election in Arizona. Let me see if I can find the new release where they mention, because they're like, oh, Bannon's in the new emails. Bannon's in them. We got Bannon now. Come on. Larry Summers. Well, Larry Summers looked kind of grimy in them. Here it is. More documents obtained by oversight subpoena of Jeffrey Epstein's estate include communications between Epstein and Steve Bannon, Larry Summers, and others. Take a look. So this is the file right here. And the only mention of Bannon is a redacted thing right here that they wrote over Steve Bannon, where Steve Bannon says, "Can't believe nobody is making you the connective tissue." And I don't even know what that means. Message FNB only. That's literally all it is from Bannon. Can't believe nobody is making you the connective tissue. Recall Prince Andrew's accuser came out of Mar-a-Lago. I don't know, man. FNB. F&B only. It doesn't say. It's from JEE iTunes. I'm assuming JEE is the abbreviation for Epstein, saying F&B only, and there is no, the response from Bannon's cut off right there. So you don't know exactly what he says. I think, that's really the only takeaway from these ones. I looked at these and it's just not. Oh, you know what? There was one good takeaway. Let's go down here to, I think it was Rumelin. Let me see. Basically like dropping, like, do you want to meet all these people? And some very famous people. Oh, you've got Michael Wolff asking him for dirt on Trump. He's asking Epstein for dirt on Trump. Or what's a tough question that I can ask him that will not get me kicked out? Here's Epstein asking Tom Barrack to send photos of you and a child make me smile. That's kind of creepy in hindsight. Stand by. I'll find the one that I'm looking at. Oh, here Epstein writes back to Kathy Rumler, saying, she says, most girls don't have to worry about this crap. Okay, so let's go through this one. This one's actually worth going through. And I think this is the one that talks about, is it? No, the next one's the one that talks about who to meet with. So in this email right here, Jeffrey Epstein says, and this is September 19th, 2014, you need to talk to boss. That's it. Just boss, not the boss, a boss, boss. Kathy Rumler writes back, agreed, but I need to be prepared to say yes before I talk to him. So it's not Maxwell, because she says him. Epstein writes back, understood. It comes down to high risk, reward, low risk, reward, professional, emotional, and financial. To which Epstein then writes back on September 19th, girls, she writes back, most girls do not have to worry about this crap. Kathy writes that back. And Epstein says in quotes, girls, careful, I will renew an old habit. What a sick fuck. Girls, careful, I'll renew an old habit. And then goes on to say, this week, Epstein's writing this. This week, this is 7 years removed from being a convicted pedophile and sex offender, and I think he's like 3 years out of prison. And he writes, this week we've got Thiel, Summers, Bill Burns, Gordon Brown, Jaglin, which is Council of Europe and Nobel Chairman, Mongolia President, Hardeep Pure, India, Boris Gates, whatever that means, Jabor, Qatar, the Sultan, Dubai, Koslin, Harvard, Leon Black, and Woody. You are a welcome guest at any. Also, if you think there are interesting people in town, everyone here for the climate summit, Clinton, Security Council, holy shit, I'm on redacted for the next 30 minutes. She writes back, doesn't look like you are prioritizing your schedule very effectively. How are you going to manage all of that? This is Unga week, so the boss will be in town too. I will be here all week. You may get sick of me. Just sat down on the train, so I can't talk freely. That's interesting. So that is the emails. That is all the shit. That's crazy, man. Let's see what else we got here. So I don't know, man. Oh, there was a video that was referenced in there, and I was able to type in the email address, the YouTube address. Let me see if I can find it. It was he had recommended that they watch an email. The Larry Summers emails are slightly concerning. Here it is. Share this tab instead. Yeah, here it is. So on Wednesday, June 21st, 2017 at 10:33, somebody blank sent an email, and Epstein wrote back with the subject, how are you? Send this interview to Donald Trump, please. It's going to be everywhere. And the interview is not, if you click on that, like type in that web address, the video is set to private. So I have no idea what that video is. And that's all I can show you on that. That's about all I got on that. Okay, so there is a lot more that they're supposed to be releasing, the House Democrats. And if they keep on this same track record, Trump's going to be cleared of any wrongdoing. Not that he isn't already, but Trump's going to be totally exonerated of any wrongdoing very quickly. the way the Dems are going now, I really, really am convinced now more than ever that President Trump is a confidential informant in the Epstein case and maybe many, many other cases. And I think that he doesn't want this out there for that reason. And I think somebody understands this too. I saw an email somebody had posted earlier where it's somebody writing to Epstein and about visiting his home in Britain. I think it was in Britain. And he says to Epstein, "What's the door number? I want to go in so I can go up to the second floor." And he says, "What time should I be there? I don't want to open the door and have Donald Trump and have Trump open it. I don't want to knock on the door and have Trump open it." And then had like laughing faces. You know, people are saying, well, that means that Trump was a frequent there. I don't think so. I think that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, I think they came to the logical conclusion that Donald Trump was the informant in their group. And I think that they told them, some of the other close people, so that they were aware of why Donald Trump can't be trusted, right? Because he's an informant. He's ratting on us and all the deviance, the sexual deviancy that we're taking part in. And that could also be why all of Hollywood now all of a sudden hates Donald Trump. Like, is there some unknown quiet secret throughout Hollywood and the elites that Trump could have been Epstein's rat? The guy that ratted on Epstein. And I say the term rat loosely. We're not talking about drug deals or an underground gambling ring. We're talking about raping kids. It's not a rat. That's a hero. That's a fucking hero. And so I kind of wonder if that's why there was the complete and total flip on Donald Trump in the mainstream. Because if he was a rat, they can quash that, right? They can keep that down. They've got enough influence to, keep that all down. They don't have enough influence if he's the president of the fucking United States. They don't have that kind of influence. They don't have that kind of power. I mean, we've seen what they've done, right? Stolen elections, tried to steal 2 elections, did successfully steal 1 election. They released an entire virus on an entire world and got us all locked down in order to steal that election. These people are desperate. These people are genuinely desperate. And I think, I really think it's going to come out, man. I do. I'm very confident in what's going on right now. And I think you're seeing very deliberate moves, right? Moves and counter moves. You're seeing very deliberate actions taken right now. Yeah, this is fascinating. Oh, I see Nick Moseder jumping in the chat. Good to see you, brother. We got to get a band reunion together here pretty soon. If you guys all don't mind, before I give my closing thoughts and put this all together, I would like to talk about our sponsor for today's show, and that is Rumble Premium. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get this pulled up here as all my dogs decide to bark and go crazy. Stand by, guys. I am watching my in-laws' dog, and it is a little bit it's a little different than my dog's. All right. Guys, you looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content without ads? Get the Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month when you sign up before December 31st. Normally a $29.99 value. With Rumble Premium, you'll get an ad-free viewing experience across all of your devices and access to exclusive premium content, no interruptions, just the videos and streams that you love anytime, anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every single day. Save over 30% on this powerful bundle. Head to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign up and unlock your premium experience. And folks, you guys know I love Perplexity. Perplexity and Comet are my two AIs, and they're related. Comet is Perplexity. I use both of those like almost religiously, man. I love all of them. Like Comet does things for me and Perplexity answers, simple questions. So absolutely love them. Check it out. And of course, Rumble Premium. Can't go wrong if you're getting Rumble Premium and access to Perplexity Pro for $20 a month. You can't go wrong with that. That's a badass deal. Cam, good to see you in the chat, brother. Still waiting on you to approve that trade, my man. I know I talk shit, but it's okay. So yeah, I hope you guys are thinking about this critically. You don't have to agree with me necessarily that Epstein was investigating Trump to be a confidential human source, but it sure in the hell sounds like it. And again, just to remind you guys of what I'm talking about here, I'll bring it up again. On April 2nd, 2011, as Prince Andrew is getting hammered in the mainstream news, mainstream media about being on Epstein Island and being a pedophile and Virginia Giuffre and all that stuff in March of 2011, Epstein and Maxwell are talking behind, to each other via email. And Epstein says, I want you to realize that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Giuffre spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. And Maxwell responds, I've been thinking about that. The 75% there, like when you think somebody is a bad person or is a liar or did something deceitful, whatever the case might be, you don't always say like balls to the wall, it's them. You're like, I've been thinking about this, and he comes over to the house and the cops weren't interested in him at all. They wanted nothing to do with him. Even when I told them like, hey, Trump's here. They're like, okay, Trump was there. And they don't question him. He's not in the reports or anything. I don't know. I think he's the confidential human source. He's a confidential human source. All right, let's see. I think we had one Rumble. Oh, one Rumble rant from Cam just popped in. About to buy Battlefield 6 so you can teach me the ropes. Oh, and on it with the trade. Also, Trump definitely was a source since at least the 80s. Yep. Cam's in agreement with me. I think he's read it. Cam, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Joe Lang that wrote that piece about all that stuff, about, Trump and the RICO deals back in the day and the mob and being a whistleblower with Rudy. Super Buff Shaft asked me earlier, CanCon, did you go over the Give, Send, Go I sent about the Arizona State audit data they are trying to save? Email that to me again. I think I saw it, and it was before we left for GART, so I don't think I got anything done with that. Jumping over to YouTube. Good to see you again, Nick. Independent Many, good to see you. Richard the First, good to see you. Faith takes us far. Good to see you. Takes you far. And of course, Haplo Patron. Good to see you. And Nick, kicking ass, man. Nick was like, I don't know if I'm back. You're totally back, bro. You're totally back, man. Totally back. Okay, guys, that is going to wrap it up. I do have sponsors down below, mypillow.com. Use promo code CANCON, CANNCON. Christmas is right around the corner. Get yourself some badass stuff. We just had our first cold snap down here in Florida. It was like 45 degrees last night. So Christy and I started a fire. We went out there. I had my MyPillow slippers on, had the little fire pit going. It was absolutely beautiful. Had a MyPillow, a blanket. It was just a great night. So yeah, hit that thumbs up. Check out mypillow.com, promo code CanCon. There's also My Shroom Vibe. There's a link down there. You can use promo code CanCon on that one. Although I don't think you need the promo code. If you click the link directly, it'll take you straight to the affiliate for me. If you don't microdose on shrooms for focus and stuff, it's not going to get you high. It's not going to get you tripping. Although they do have tripping stuff. G Money had it out at GART, and I ate like 4 of those things because I was like, let me see what it does. Felt great. Definitely not tripping, but felt great. And they have chocolate bars too. Those are the ones that are supposed to get you pretty good. So, all right, guys, that is going to do it for the show. Thank you guys all so much. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. Share this out. I have not heard anybody. You know, I talked about it this morning on Badlands Daily. I have not heard anybody bring up the confidential informant in regards to that email specifically. I know people have said before that he's an informant. I have not heard anybody come to that conclusion on that email yet. So if you think I'm on to something, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. I'll see you guys next time. Stay frosty. God bless each and every one of you. God bless America. Make the fortune cookie country pay for this.
It is a reliable source. It's what they used to lock us up for January 6th. The same data. The same exact data.